when you think of entrepreneurship and somebody says, I've got this great idea, I've got the will, and I'm just itching, I want to move forward, the things that the person is not prepared. And you talked about commercialization, and that's critical because, great idea doesn't mean a diddly squat unless you know how to commercialize it. So what is it that you would say? 3 things. These caveats. You need to go prepare yourself with these 3 things that are critical.
So let me just say, the first thing I would say is that do not teach entrepreneurship in the business school. That is a recipe for suboptimal results. Entrepreneurship is about heterogeneity. It's getting different people together. And time again you see that the data is that teams that are heterogeneous are much more successful. So the first premise I would say is don't have it in the business school. We sit in what we call the demilitarized zone at MIT where we serve all 5 schools. And that's critically important to our success. We would be successful if we sat in the engineering school, but I think to reach your full potential. So the first thing I'd say is get a team and get a heterogeneous team. The second thing is I think you need to focus on the process and not just the idea. The idea will change. The process is what will lead you to where you will get the fruits of the labor. The last thing I would say is the single necessary and sufficient condition for a business, there is one and only one, is a paying customer. You do not have a business unless you have a paying customer. It's not a science project. So when we're talking about creating innovation-driven enterprises, new companies, you have to realize that you build the company from the customer back and not trying to force out what we believe. That doesn't mean you go ask the customer, please design our product. No, you understand the customer in such great depth. As I talked about, my thesis is walk in your customer's shoes, and then you will be able to design the product that they want, that they need. But you cannot do that by forcing things on them. You need to really understand the customer and build the company back from that. And that's a lesson that I learned the hard way.
Are there certain things that within entrepreneurship are those non-changeable either attitudes or traits that one needs to say, you can be an entrepreneur?
Well, I think the first thing is that we have to dispel the myth that an entrepreneur is an individual sport. It is not. If you don't have the ability to work well on a team, you're unlikely to be an entrepreneur the way that I've described in the book. You could be a freelancer. That's a way to be an entrepreneur. But when I think about the kind of innovation-driven entrepreneurship that I talk about in the book, you really need to build a team. And the data is very clear on this. The more people you have on your team, the odds of success go up. That doesn't mean you can just pick anyone, but it means that you need to work well with other people. So this is important. You also need to be interested in solving problems. You need to be able to work on a team and solving problems and not be dogmatic about forcing things on people. But other than that, there's not, you don't have to be the smartest person in the class.
Now, sales is critical. As an entrepreneur, you need to at least understand the sales process really, really well, from the strategic to the tactical. Whether you are a salesperson or not, the personality and all that issues, because there are certain myths around a great salesperson has this flamboyant personality. Most of the people who are in their field, they understand that's not true, it's a myth. But I would like to hear from your point of view, as an entrepreneur, how important is being a salesperson, and to what extent? Everything
you do in a business goes to that moment of truth, to that single necessary and sufficient condition where the customer buys your product or does not buy your product. Everything is aligned to do that. And so the sales process is where the moment of truth happens. And one of the things that we believe very much in that, and you see it time and time again, the best technology doesn't always win. It rarely wins compared to the best marketing sales organization. And that's where, if you were going to bet on one, you'd bet on the latter, the sales one. And whether you're a salesperson yourself or not, you need to have strong sales capability on your team and appreciation and respect from everyone in the organization that sales is critical to our success. So I could not agree with you more. It all comes down to selling. If you don't sell, you have no oxygen, the body dies.